I have been uploading a ton of videos that I've been capturing with my DJI Mini 3 Pro to Instagram lately, and I've been getting lots of comments and messages from you guys asking what my export settings are to make sure I get the sharpest looking videos possible. I'm going to share them with you today, the settings you need to select on Premiere Pro to get the best looking footage from this drone when exporting them to upload to Instagram Reels. I'm also going to share a top tip to make sure them videos look extra sharp, and a setting you need to turn on that not many know about on Instagram to make sure you get high quality uploads. Let's jump right in. So welcome to Premiere Pro. Now it's important to mention, if you don't use Premiere Pro, don't think this video is not for you. The settings and export settings I will be explaining in this video will be able to be used on any video editor. So simply write them down and plug them into whatever video editor you use. If you do use Premiere Pro, you'll be able to follow along step by step. Now the first thing we want to do is create a sequence, and we want to make sure the settings are right to make sure we get the best quality Instagram Reels we can. So how do we create a sequence on Premiere Pro? Firstly, go to File, then go to New and select Sequence. Now we're going to be creating a custom sequence, but we want to start with some placeholder information in place. So select Digital SLR, go to 1080p and then select DSLR 1080p 25. Click across the settings, and you want to make sure that editing mode is set to DSLR. For time base, you want this frame rate to be whatever frame rate you have your drone set to and record your video clips in. So I record in 25 FPS, but if you record in 30 or 60 FPS, then select either of these settings. I'm going to select 25 FPS. Now very important, for frame size, we want this set to 1080 by 1920. This is the frame size Instagram Reels uses, and it will make sure that your aspect ratio is correct for vertical video. You want to make sure that it shows 9 by 16 next to vertical. Also very important, make sure your pixel aspect ratio is set to square pixels. I've sometimes found this is set to something else, and it can mess with the aspect ratio of your sequence, so make sure this is set to square pixels. Now if you want to save these settings so that you can create these sequences going forward without having to change this information every time, simply click Save Preset, enter a name, I'm going to call it Instagram Reels, and hit OK. Then next time when you come back to create a sequence, go down to Custom, open up the folder, and you'll see your sequence saved in there. So we're going to select that and we're going to hit OK. So you'll now see we have our sequence ready to go to add our clips into to create our Instagram Reels. Now I'm going to show you the few changes you need to make if you're importing a video that was shot in normal wide 4K video mode, or if you shot in the new vertical video mode of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. So we'll start with the normal aspect ratio. So I've just dragged the clip in and you'll see this clip mismatch warning. Now the reason you're getting this is because Premiere Pro has realized, hey, you're adding a 4K video clip into a 1080 by 1920 vertical video sequence. This is wrong, this is a mismatch. But we know what we're doing, we're creating a vertical video reel. So you want to click Keep Existing Settings. If you click Change Sequence Settings, it will undo them custom settings you plugged in, and it will change your sequence to be a 4K video sequence. We don't want that, so let's click Keep Existing Settings. Now the first thing we want to do to this video clip is we want to reduce its size slightly. The reason for that is this 4K video clip is 2160 pixels high, but our Instagram Reel is 1920 pixels high. So we want to reduce the video clip slightly so that we get all the video in the frame. So I'm just going to click the video clip, go up to where it says scale and change this to 90, and you'll now see we have our entire video clip in. The next thing, and this is a top tip I like to do, is I like to add extra sharpness to the video clip to counteract the compression that happens when uploading to Instagram Reels. So how do we do this? Simply select your video clip, go over to Lumetri Color, go to Creative, and then I like to add about 20 or 25% sharpening. So simply click next to the sharpen and type in 20 or 25, and you'll see this adds sharpness to your clip. And I think this just counteracts the compression that happens when uploading to Instagram and makes sure your videos look nice and sharp on Instagram Reels. So that's what I do for a normal video clip taken with my drone. But what if you've been shooting a lot of videos in vertical mode with your DJI Mini 3 Pro? Well, I've got a vertical video mode clip here that I'm going to drag onto my timeline. and we need to reduce this down again. So because this video clip was shot in 4K vertical, it's actually 3840 pixels high, but this is a 1920 high sequence, so we need to reduce it by half. So we do that by clicking on our clip, going to scale, and typing in 50 or 50% height, and you'll see this now means we get all our clip in this sequence. And again, I add that extra sharpness just to make sure it looks nice and crispy on Instagram Reels. So again, click your clip, go over to the metric color, go to creative and sharpen, and add 20 or 25% sharpening. So these are now our clips ready to export. And this is when we're going to get into the export settings. And this is the most important part if you want your Instagram Reels to be as highest quality as possible. So you want to go to File, Export, and then Media. So these are the export settings for our video clip. Now we need to go in here and make several changes, but the first thing you want to do is make sure that your format is set to H.264. Now you'll maybe see custom and preset, you might see some other of the presets selected. You want to make sure that it is set to match source high bitrate to begin with before we go in and make these custom changes. Then with video selected, you want to scroll down and you want to make sure that your width and height are set to 1080 by 1920. Sometimes these get changed and you just want to make sure that it matches what we originally put into our sequence. You also want to make sure that the frame rate is what you set it to. I set it to 25, make sure it's 25. And lastly, make sure aspect ratio is set to square pixels. You then want to make sure render at maximum depth is selected. And then you want to scroll down to bitrate. Now the key with bitrate is we want to find a bitrate which is high enough that the quality is really good, but not too high that the file size is so big that Instagram compresses the absolute daylights out of it. Now I've been playing about with a bunch of different bitrates and I found the one that I think is the best compromise. So for bitrate you want to set it to VBR 2 pass and you want to set target and maximum bitrate to 20. This is the bitrate I find gives the highest quality video whenever you upload it to Instagram. The next thing you want to do is you want to select use maximum render quality. Now for audio, if you've got sound effects on your reel, you want to click audio. You want to make sure that the sample rate is set to 48,000 and that the bit rate is set to 320. The last thing we want to do is make sure that the audio is normalized so that you don't get clipping or a really loud sound effect and then a really low sound effect. We want it all to be one nice consistent audio level with no clipping because your sound effect has been way too loud. So we can do that really easily by going to effects, scrolling down until you see loudness normalization. You want to click loudness normalization. You want the loudness standard to be set to ITU BS 1770-3. It's a mouthful, but that's the one you want to select. For target loudness, you want this to be -14. For tolerance, you want this to be 0. And for max true peak level, you want to be -1. Now top tip, if you create content for YouTube as well, if you make YouTube videos as well, this is the loudness target that YouTube actually uses. So it's worth doing this loudness normalization on your YouTube videos as well. Now if this is the first time you've plugged in these settings into Premiere Pro, make sure to save them so that you can quickly select them every time you export a reel going forward. To do this, go up to where it says preset, go across to the save preset button, click save preset, put a name in for this export settings you've just added. I'm going to call it Instagram Reels. You want to make sure save effect settings is selected, click OK. And then next time you go to export your video, you can simply select Instagram Reels or whatever you called your preset and go ahead and export your video clip. All that's left to do is click export to export your reel. Now lastly, there is a setting within the Instagram app that you need to select to make sure you're getting high quality Instagram uploads whenever you're uploading your videos that not many people know about. To get to it, to change it, go into Instagram. You want to go across to your profile, select the settings menu on the top right of the app, go to settings, then you want to go to account, you want to scroll down to data usage, and then the second option you'll see is high quality uploads. Upload higher quality videos on mobile or Wi-Fi. Additional processing time may be required due to larger file sizes. You want to make sure that is ticked to make sure that when you upload your Instagram Reels, your drone videos to Instagram, that it's uploading in the highest quality possible. So those are the settings I use to try and get the highest quality uploads to social media such as Instagram from the drone clips I take with my DJI Mini 3 Pro and all my drones. Are there any tips that you have discovered which mean you get very little compression and high quality uploads to social media? Then I'd love to hear what they are. Drop them in the comments down below. Now, if you've liked this video and you've learned something new, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. And if you love all things drones and want to know how to get better photos and more cinematic videos with your drone, then I have a ton of other content on my channel that I recommend you check out. I also recommend you click that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you want to stick around and see a few more of them now, here's a few videos I personally recommend checking out. I'll not keep you back any further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you over there.